Hello, you guys, and welcome to.
Oh, I don't think the hello got. So hello, you guys, and welcome to the Women's Cave.
I feel like you.
Hi, Jen.
Well, actually, it's not my turn.
Oh, it's not your turn. Wow.
So
wow. And
know.
yesterday you have like lipstick on your teeth. I needed to tell you, and I forgot.
You had lipstick on your teeth for the entire interviews yesterday. They were blue specks.
And you
I needed to. I'm telling you now. There's no lipstick on your teeth now, but there was yesterday. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate it.
You know what, Winona?
So there is a.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right because I'm moving the champagne out the trunk of the car.
Wait. No, see, this is rude. I was just about to announce we have had a ceasefire on the champagne wars. We may not be able to get world peace, but we have champagne peace in this house. I get to drink champagne, and she gets to drink champagne. It's a good day. Okay.
So y'all, I'm Jade though.
And I'm Winona. Oh, Ebola elbow. We remembered to introduce ourselves.
Or whatever they call it now. So I don't know what they call it.
Okay, when it started off, it was Ebola elbow.
Yes. I don't know.
And if you're 2045 and don't know what that is, look it up.
Google or whatever search engine you have. Because Google might not be around. Who knows? 2045.
It's going to be around.
Okay,
everybody has Google.
Two word books, yes. They're literary life guides that are pop poetry.
Okay, another Ebola elbow.
Yeah. I know, I'm rocking it today.
You're rocking it today.
All right, tell them about it.
All right, so yes, we have And I Thought Divorce Was Bad with Other Life Lessons available on audible.com, barnesandnoble.com. And
I'm looking for the Misfit Guide.
Okay. And
that's the end of my profession.
Anyway, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, soon coming out on audible.com. I mean, Joe has promised that it will be out before June, which is exciting because Joe is a genius.
She has one chapter left.
I am so
Chapter 3. I told her to just rush through it, and she can go with the mispronounced words. I'll tell everyone in the notes to skip Chapter 3.
We lied. We're not going to tell them that. Joe's too much of a professional to do that. So that's exciting. And then that will be available on Audible. And then my favorite book, although I'm not supposed to play favorites, but I do anyway, And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone, one of the only all poetry books that we have. And then If Only the Misfit Guide, and that's all available on Amazon. And then If Only I Were Me, available only on barnesandnoble.com.
Okay, I'd like to say that she did not mention that we have the rest of the And I Thought series, which is like 15 books long. And then I am the author of the Widow's Death series and Foreign Coffee, which is a romance novel, which is also available on audible.com. I was a little narcissistic today and listened to it 6 times. It's been fun. All right, anyway.
We're the co-founders of the 25 Hottest Indie Authors, Artists, and Advocate magazine, out now, $7.50, but 196 pages. So if you are bored in your quarantine
and you want to forget that your family is around and you could just, put the magazine up because it's like this big, just be like,
I'm sorry, I'm reading for my class. I'm reading.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that, right? You can check everything that your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. But y'all aren't here to hear from us,
because
and we have a bunch of women in the Women's Cave today, so that's exciting. And we're going to have them introduce themselves right now. We'll start it with Brooke.
Hi, Brooke Fossey. They said to say a couple of interesting facts, so here's what I got. I'm an ex-engineer. I'm a mother of 4, and I'm the author of The Big Finish, which came out in April. That's what I woohoo!
I love it.
Okay, so next we have Sherry. I thought we said Billy, but I'm going to go with Sherry because that's who's next on my
No, it was Sherry.
It was Sherry.
Woo! They're messing stuff up.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Sherry Lime Cooler, so it's doesn't look like it would be pronounced the way it's spelled until you hear it. Lime Cooler. It sounds like a fun happy hour drink, but which in this quarantine situation we can all use. Fun fact. I live in Maryland. I have 3 teenage daughters, 2 Labrador retrievers. I used to fly airplanes. Now I write books. And my favorite thing to do is to be outside. If I'm not at my computer, I love to be out hiking or on the trails or paddleboarding. That's my happy place, is to be outside. My debut. Yeah,
I used to design airplanes, so we would be an excellent pair. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my debut women's fiction novel, I don't know if you guys can see this. It's What's Left Untold. I don't know if that's showing up on there. I don't have copy. There it is.
Hold on. Bring it more.
Bring it. There we go. There we go.
And it releases on Tuesday, on May 19th. So it'll be out in the world in 6 days, and I'm really excited. So thank you for having me here today.
We love it. Pamela?
Yes. Okay. My name is Pamela. What are interesting facts about me?
There's a guitar behind you.
I know, so that seems interesting.
No, because I don't know how to play it. That's not that interesting. I actually used to be known as the death writer because I've written a lot about death. And I had a blog that I wrote on about death and normalizing grief for many years. My first book, is this, Death Becomes Us. That came out in 2015. And my debut novel is Forever 51. And I don't have the book yet because I just have a sticker. So, and it's about a menopausal vampire who is eternally 51. So I have 2 kids. I have an adorable dog and a cat. And I make boxes for a living. That's interesting. So.
Yes, making boxes for a living.
Okay, yeah, I thought I heard that wrong. Did she say boxes? Because, allergies.
Yes. You want to see?
Yes, of course. Who doesn't want to see boxes?
No, these are fancy boxes. These are boxes that hold books. See how, look, this was the first book that we had in our book club. And this is a clamshell box. So you open it up, and there's the book, and it is protected inside. So I work for a rare book collector in Texas. That's what I do for a living. And I'm a librarian.
That is so cool.
I love it.
I'm going to be Billy. Nope, we have to go to Billy.
Billy.
Hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be here with so many women writers. That is really cool. I have written a book that's in, Pamela didn't mention, the 2020 Quarantine Book Club on Facebook, which she founded, which is how I think we're all connected. And my book is called How I Made a Huge Mess of My Life, or Couples Therapy with the Dead Man. And so I'm a widow. He got cancer. And 3 months before he died, he invited his mistress to visit us at our house for the weekend. And that was how I found out that he'd been having an affair for years. And that, as you might imagine, really messed me up. It took me a really long time to recover from that. He died before we could reconcile. And of course, his death was a profound experience, as deaths are. And so here I am. That happened to me in 2009. My book came out in March. And now I live in Portland, Oregon with my dog. And I have a happy life. So my book has a happy ending. But it took me 10 years of, going around in circles to try and figure myself out. So I'm really glad to be here.
Yay!
About that.
Always.
So I've been told. I haven't done 10 years yet. I would tell a story here, but that's just rude.
No.
So let's focus on everyone else now.
Yes, thank you.
So Pamela, how did you get started with the 2020 Quarantine Club? I know I read the article, so I probably know the answer to this. I should have asked you a better question. But
no, it's all right, because your viewers may not know it, but I work at a public library, and after we were quarantined, I didn't have a job to go to, and I had become part of the 2020 debut author group on Facebook, and a lot of these authors were having their events canceled, their launches for their debut, novel that they'd spent, years of their lives working on, and I'm like, gosh, that's so sad. And I knew Brooke because Brooke and I are in the same writing group here in Texas. And I'm like, that is so sad that that they've worked this hard and they don't get to celebrate that, victory. So I'm like, well, I'll start an online book club so that these authors can come in and we can get some people to all read their book and discuss it, and they can have some visibility. And I thought maybe 50 people would join, and and that's still pretty good to get 50 people to read your book and talk about it. I think every author would like that. But then it grew, and now I think we have like 1,350 people who are part of the book club. Are they all super engaged with it? Not so much. I think in the beginning everyone was like, woo, yay, but now there's so much virtual, there's so many Zoom meetings that, it lost a little bit of its initial allure, but people are still joining and participating in our discussions. So I'm very proud of that I did my one little small part to help debut authors.
You should be. As authors who started off virtually, like the entertainment and the awards and book festival, I have to say, like, to survive in the virtual world now is a bit rough.
It's kind of fun.
Because first of all, it was hard enough to get everyone to be like, no, come to something you can come to in your house. Now it's like, can you come to my thing? I know you're going to everybody else's. But it's amazing that you were able to keep that many people engaged.
Yes.
I think it speaks a lot to the work of the ladies that are here today.
Absolutely.
So before I ask you another question, I should probably ask them one, right, Jane?
Absolutely. I was going to ask. Brooke, you are the current Book of the Month author. How honored were you? How honored did you feel? And
what was your happy dance?
Yeah, pretty much. I was about to ask that.
Okay, so here's a true fact. When Pam was coming up with this idea, I think she had already launched it, but she did call me, and I did cry over the phone to her. Real tears, because I was in the midst of canceling everything, and she knows my journey. This has been like a 10-year journey tour. I mean, you guys all know how hard it is and how many rejections you pile up, and then to finally have your book on the shelf, so exciting. And then everything was just so up in the air, and people didn't know what to expect. And I feel like now that we're further into this, it's a brave new world. We're able to do these kind of panels, and there's a lot of online stuff, but I don't think anyone knew what to do or where to go or how to launch a book. And Pam basically took me by the hand and was like, come this way, Brooke. Come this way. And I'm really grateful, so grateful. And I'm excited to be the May book. So I don't know if I answered the question, but I
think they want to see your happy dance.
Oh, you want to see my happy dance? Oh man, I'm terrible. Oh man. This will live on the internet forever. Do I really want to do that to people?
No, you don't have to. We just know we did one, and that's fine. That's good enough for us. Great.
Oh.
You did do one.
I did one. Yeah, you bet. Thanks,
Okay.
Pam.
I'm going to jump back to Pamela real quick. How do you select the books that are going to be voted on?
Well, initially I approached the people that were in the 2020 debut author group. And then I had people outside of that group approach, and, I just made it kind of it would have to be a book that people would pick for a book club. So fiction or memoir. I think a cookbook was, and it's like, well, we're not going to discuss a cookbook. I mean, we could, but no. So it's basically, a novel or a memoir, and it has to be their first book. So that's kind of the criteria to be part of the group.
Well,
and that's it.
Can I count if we just change the copyright date on our first book?
No. Initially, a lot of people contacted me initially, and I felt bad. I know someone else from our writers group that had a YA book coming out, and I was just doing adult novels, so I felt kind of bad turning her down. But we do have an area in the group where authors who are members of the club can, you know, post about their book. I just don't want it to be, the club to be just about me, self-promotion. I think I love book clubs. I've always been in a book club. I think it's, I think it forces me to read something that I wouldn't pick myself. And that stretches me. I mean, years ago when the book Life of Pi came out, that was the book selection in my book club, and I didn't pick it. And I was like, read about a dude on a boat with a tiger? I don't think so. I don't want to read that. But then I ended up loving it and became like one of my top 10 favorite books of all time. So I think book clubs are really cool in that way because it stretches you.
All right. So now I guess we have to go now pick on Sherry and Billy. I'm not sure if it's picking on. You know,
don't pick on them.
All right. Sherry and Billy. So
with your, well, Billy just had a book coming out, and then Sherry with your upcoming book. Can you tell us how the experience of being a debut author? I mean, how was it, especially now in 2020 with the pandemic?
It's, yeah.
Go ahead.
I've been learning as I go. It's been almost a decade in the making, bringing this book into the world. I had the idea for it in 2009, and it took a long time to come to be. And I'm with an indie press, so it's a little bit different, not self-published and not with a huge publisher. So I have a lot to learn myself about the marketing and getting the book out. I do have a partner with my publisher, but I am expected to participate as a full partner in putting my book out there. And I don't think I have a technological bone in my body. And so this is way out of my comfort zone. I would much rather have met people in person. I had a launch party scheduled at my local bookstore, A Likely Story. And my idea would just be able to celebrate in person with people, you know, toast some champagne, give them a hug, you know, just really celebrate. And so this sense of remove on the screen, while it's a blessing that we have this available to us. If this had happened a decade ago, when you're in your house and you couldn't connect, it would really be a whole different thing. But it's thrown a whole new learning curve for me in trying to learn about Zoom and learn about live events and learn if my internet actually works and what happens when I get kicked out of an event. And so it's definitely, added a different dimension that I didn't expect. But there's also been so much opportunity that has come from it as well. Like just for example, with Pamela and the book club, you know, and other authors I've been able to meet and work with and collaborate with, that opportunity may not have been there under normal circumstances. So there's positives and negatives, and I think everyone's just making the best of it, you know, doing the best we can and try to get these books out there to readers who hopefully reading is still a great diversion during this time of people that need that escape into a different world for at least a little while. And so that's still my hope, is to get it out there for readers and that they'll enjoy it.
Sherry, the two of us have been there.
We've been there. We've definitely been there. Like, what is a Zoom? We've definitely been there.
It was about 3 years, but yeah, we've been there. And then and then you mean the Skype and then the Facebook Live, and we still hate Facebook Live.
Hates us.
People are like, oh, come do Facebook Live, and we're like, no, we hate it. All right, let's move on. Sorry.
Billy?
Well, I agree with a lot of what Sherry just said. I was planning on going on a book tour. I have a blog. My blog is called Beyond 60, Loving Life, Staying Relevant. So I'm 66. And a lot of what I blog about is that space of time between your 40s and your 60s when everything is changing and you're just trying to figure it out and find your way through it. I think we all have a plan for ourselves, you know, in our 30s and 40s, like that engine of ego and family and work is all happening. And then, like, who has a plan for themselves when they're 60? I didn't. So it was a really big wake-up call for me to just realize that old age didn't exist for me, you know, and I don't think it exists for a lot of young people. And then you get here and it's like, whoa, I probably should have thought about this. So I had planned on going on a book tour. And I was going to drive I live in Portland, Oregon. I was going to drive around the country where I have fans of my blog to promote my book and really try and make this whole, you know, technology thing we're doing here and on Facebook real, like face to face. And of course that's canceled. And also I live alone. And I live alone, you know, so I've been alone in my apartment for 2 months. And I'm very grateful for you guys, for taking the initiative with this, for standing up and speaking out and giving us a place to go and really helping us like feel like we have a community when a lot of us are really home alone. So thank you.
Oh, the book community is very much so like this.
Yes.
Very, very much. Until you get to the top. When you start getting to like asking presidents of like Harper and Collins, and they tend to be like, no.
But you
know, everyone below them is awesome.
Tends to be awesome.
No, I guess that's not true.
I mean,
there's a few presidents that were really cool too. Anyway, moving on. I was going to say, Billy, you have to recognize, though, there are some positive of not going on that long book tour. We've been on tour for 26 weeks every year for almost 3.5 years. There's sleep deprivation.
Oh, my goodness. When you wake
There's
up,
driving and trying to stay on the road.
Wait, when you wake up, and like your first question is, what time zone am I in?
What country is this? And is this a hotel or my house? You missed all of it. Just be happy. And rest up, and then you'll be really ready.
You'll be ready. You'll be like, what time zone I in? Who cares?
I know. Okay, so when the first thing you guys want to do once you get out of quarantine for your book?
Yes. But I mean, for yourself personally, and then for your book. Anyone, free fall.
Okay, I got it. I am really looking forward to going into a bookstore and seeing my book because I haven't been able to, and I know it's really out in the world, but for some reason it doesn't feel real because I haven't walked in, and I had these dreams of walking by somebody and being like, oh, you see that book? That's my book. Did you want me to sign that book? Yeah. So I think I'm going to go to a bookstore and find it. And I'm also going to face it out on the bookshelf, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Subvert the system.
Yep. So you're going to go to Interrobang? Is that your bookstore?
I'm going to every bookstore in the Metroplex, and I'm taking my book out on every bookshelf.
All right.
I like it very much. Sherry?
Oh, well, I think the first thing I want to do as soon as I can is honestly give my mom a really big hug because I've been 4 states away from her now for 2 months. And other than when I was in college, it's probably the longest time I have been without getting to spend time with my parents. We had an extended family vacation scheduled in June to celebrate their 50th anniversary, and that's been canceled. I was supposed to go on a hiking trip with some friends to Sedona in March, and that was canceled. So, you know, there's so many people everywhere that are missing family, and they're missing special events, milestone events, graduations, postponing weddings. So I think for me personally, it's just being with the people I love again, that taken for granted to just be able to pop over to someone's house and have coffee, or, hey, I'll meet you at the bookstore, or I'll meet you at the cafe. Just not having the ability to do that. And kind of along those lines, then my hope for my book is to just to, not only like Brooke said, to see it out there in the world and be able to walk into a store, hopefully, and see it, but to sit down with people together and talk about it. I have a couple book clubs that have already told me they've selected my book, And I really would love to be able to be in person with them. Hopefully by the time that happens, we can sit down together somewhere and have that human connection without the screen. As great as a connector as that is for us now, to me, I realize how much of a hugger I am. Yes, you know, occasionally you'll see that person from afar. I had a friend of mine the other day that dropped off some homemade chocolate chip cookies just because they know I love chocolate and my girls love chocolate. And it was just such a random act of kindness. And the first thing I wanted to do was just wrap that person in a hug. And so I realized I'm more of a hugger than I probably realized. So I'm looking forward to that again for me and my book, to have that connection.
Thank you. Thank you. Pamela or Billy?
You want to go, Billy?
Well, the first thing I want to do when all this is over is go to a bar with my friends. You know, I mean, that's what I really, really miss, is going to a public place like a restaurant or a bar and meeting some friends there and just hanging out and talking and enjoying each other's company in a room full of strangers. And yeah, and of course, I'm going to promote my book when this is over. If it's over when my book is still alive, I mean, I don't know. I'm writing another book, and hopefully that one will come out in a better time.
Oh, it will. And then you'll get to go on the tour. Yeah. After all the negative things I said, it is a ton of fun. Oh, and then I want to say one more thing about the bar. Yeah. I cannot wait until someone else pours my drink.
Yeah.
And one of the places that we sell our books the most is in bars.
Yeah, so Sherry, I don't know if you're like a bar person. It's a great place. We sold like over 200 and some books in a bar.
Yes, I definitely we just had right before this happened, we had a new brew pub that just opened here, 1623 Brewery. And then we also have this great wine bar called The Cork. And I have already talked to them before this happened about trying to do some creative things like beer and a book, you know, or a live event at The Cork where there's some live music. And, you know, maybe I'll do a drawing, not only like to give away a book, but also to buy someone a glass of wine, you know, just to get that festive atmosphere and really celebrate. So yeah, I miss happy hour too. I miss socializing at the brew pub, and I worry for these new businesses that just opened up and within weeks had to close their doors. And so we're trying to do what we can to order takeout and, you know, order from these local companies to keep them afloat during this tough time. Yeah,
absolutely. And where are you in Maryland?
I am in Carroll County. I'm in Eldersburg or Sykesville, which is right between Baltimore and Frederick, equidistant between Baltimore and Frederick. Yeah.
Okay. Like bars. You said a bar. We know that bar.
We live in Annapolis, Maryland.
You're in Annapolis. Oh, small world. I grew up in Anne Arundel County, in Crofton and Gambrills area.
Oh, cool. So when you said
one
Maryland,
of our favorite fans live there.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, then you guys would love to know that in my book, Annapolis makes an appearance. There's some mention of the Naval Academy and the docks and these ice cream shops. So that comes up a little bit in the book.
I feel like I'm taking way too long on Pamela, but before to get to Pamela's, but I just want to tell you guys, so if you ever visit Annapolis, it's a bar town that happens to have ice cream shops.
Yes.
Yes.
Pamela, it is your turn.
Okay, I went to Goucher College in Towson.
Whoa, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's I've been to Maryland myself for a couple summers. Let's see, my thing that I miss the most is going to the movies. I'm not a super social person, but I love going to see a movie and having like a communal experience with strangers. I know, I love film. So I want to go to a movie and get a pedicure. I miss getting a pedicure. My husband has been attempting to do it, and he's been doing a pretty good job painting my nails. And And as far as my book, I mean, my debut comes out November 5th of this year, and I was planning to do my launch at the Fort Worth Public Library in downtown, and it was going to have a bloodmobile outside with Carter Blood Care. There was going to be a blood drive because it's a story about a vampire, so you got to have something with blood. And so I don't even know if that's going to be able to happen. And I don't know if people are going to want to get out in a public place this year. I don't know. Like for an event like that, like concert or an event where it's an author reading and you have 50 people in a room kind of seated next to each other. I don't know if that's even going to be possible. So I guess I'm grateful that I started this online club, and I have learned, like Sherry says, you don't have a technological gene. Either do I. I'm like, I have been forced to learn how to do Zoom and how to do Facebook Live and how to start a MailChimp sign up thing. I mean, I have really stretched myself with technology during these last 2 months, and so I'm learning, and hopefully by the time November rolls around, I won't mind that I didn't get to do the thing. So it's all good.
A big party, 2021. We're just gonna have a big book party.
I think everyone's gonna party like it's 1999.
I guess
I turned 50 this year in August, and I was supposed to go to London and then take a cruise, fjord cruise in Norway, and
you don't want to do this with your summer. London is terrible summer.
Go to Greece.
We call horrible cold.
Go to Greece. I'm not going to go anywhere in August. I'm staying home.
I feel like the cruise lines will be really inexpensive.
But do I want to get on a boat and be stuck there for years? I don't think so.
I will say that my mom and my sister and I, for Mother's Day, we did brave, Dallas is open. I'm going to put air quotes around that. We did brave a restaurant. And it was a really nice experience. They've moved tables 6 feet apart, and it wasn't super crowded, but everything's really clean. And it was nice for somebody to pour our drinks, for sure. So I feel like it's unwinding a little bit. That's good.
Yeah.
Right. We just interviewed someone from Austin, and they were talking about that. They're like, it's open, and I was like, okay. And they're like, we're not going anywhere yet. So I'm glad someone went somewhere.
Okay,
Texas is one of the first states.
My mom insisted, and so who am I to disagree with her?
So one of our last questions I'm going to ask is, what are 2 pieces of advice that you would give every debut author, every person that wants to really write a book? What are 2 pieces of advice from each of you that you would give?
Well, I'll just jump right in there, because my advice would be write something besides a book. Because I'll tell you, as a writer, you need exposure. And so you need to write other things, magazine articles, poetry, a blog, something that is going to give other people access to you other than your book. So there's synergy between those 2 things. And I think it's really important for writers to learn to do that.
Absolutely.
To have a platform.
Practical advice from the person who has the most experience. Wisdom. I love wisdom.
Hey, you don't get these things for nothing, you work for them.
I'm trying to get not have them. I'm trying to get the wisdom without.
Working on it.
I guess I'm going to jump in here. I would say the biggest thing that I've learned, and I am going to thank Pam because she's the one that has continued to push me, but you can't be afraid to stump for your own book. And to me, that has been, I will send a press request at this point to anyone. I don't care what it is. It can be the newspaper. It can be a huge magazine. I'm sending the email. If I don't hear, so what? But I found that if you just continue to knock on doors, that some will open for you. And nobody is going to promote your book better than you. I mean, even the publisher, they move on to their next season quicker than you, before you've even caught your breath. And so you've just got to be your own proponent. That would be my advice.
Okay, you guys really listen to that advice.
Listen to them. Listen. Yeah. Good advice.
Because I mean, like the last two, I was like, that's how we got somewhere close to where we are now.
Somewhere close.
Yeah. Somewhere. Okay. 2 more people.
Okay, I'll just go. I would just say that not to give up and to be confident in, because I think a lot of writers, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, have at some point a feeling of being a fraud or an imposter, like, am I really, is this any good? And because they're artists, writing is subjective, and some people might read your book and go, well, this sucks. And another person might go, oh my gosh, this really spoke to me and changed my life. And so you can't depend on what other people think of you. You have to be like Brooke says, you have to be the person who promotes yourself, be confident, and never stop trying. If you want this, go for it and keep sending stuff out. In our writers group, we applaud rejection every week. The president asked, who sent something out this week? And people, they applaud that, but then they also applaud the people who got rejected, because if you're not getting rejected, you're not sending your stuff out, because this business is all about rejection. But, occasionally you get that acceptance, and that's what makes it even sweeter when you do get that acceptance. So just not give up and believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
You can make inspirational posters.
No.
Yeah, definitely everybody's got solid advice for sure. I could probably dovetail in a couple of those. As Pamela said, it's a tough business. There's definitely going to be rejections, and lots of them. It's a very subjective business. I found very early on that I was getting some agent feedback, and what one agent absolutely loved, the next agent hated the most of all. And so you kind of have to stay true to yourself. There's lots of books out there, but there's lots of readers out there, and somewhere there are readers for your book. So I think you have to keep your own voice and keep writing your story. I agree also with what Brooke said. I think the self-promotion is next to the technology piece right now is the hardest piece for me. I'm fine to go out there and shout from the rooftop about somebody else's book, but it is very unnatural for me to be talking about myself and promoting myself and buy my book. And so I definitely think that that's a part of it. And you have to, if you don't believe in your own work and promote your own work, it's probably not going to get to the places you want it to go. But those aside, my number one piece of advice comes from Stephen King. And he's not the only one to say it, but one of my favorite craft books was Stephen King's book On Writing. He was my first adult author that I read after I got out of the the P.S. I Love You, Judy Blume phase. I jumped right into Stephen King, so that was a huge jump. But his advice,
dark jump,
right. He was write every day, like write every single day, even if it's 15 minutes, because I was really bad at that. And I would wake up and feel like my mind was a whiteboard that had stuff all over it, and I had to clear away all the things to do before I could focus on my writing. And so often, by the time I got there, the day was gone. The kids were home, it was dinner time. And when you lose that momentum, when you try to come back to that story 2 days or 2 weeks later, the momentum, it's like starting all over. And so you keep moving backward instead of forward. So I would say definitely write every day. And then the second piece of advice would be to reach out to other people. It definitely is a solitary pursuit in some way, but it does not exist in a bubble. And there are so many people out there in this industry. I found probably more than any that idiom that a rising tide lifts all boats. And I have found that so much in this industry that when one of us succeeds, it's like a group success. Like I am so happy when I see my fellow debuts out there right now having a great launch and doing readings and book clubs, and I'm so happy for them. So definitely reach out to your network and to your fellow writers, because I think there's a lot of support out there to be had, sure.
I was going to say that the Write Every Day, I mean, during quarantine with all the kids home, that is a tall effing order.
You have to finish a book by the...
We don't talk about deadlines, thank you.
Yeah. I have no desire to write right now, but it's okay.
Yeah, same here. Which is
but I will say the tip that Christine Merrill, one of a really wonderful romance writer, told us. She's like, so how I motivate myself to write during quarantine is the world is not the way I want it to be, so I'm going to write how I want the world to be. And she's like, and that's how I motivate myself, is I have to write the world the way I want it to be.
And then she gets to spend time in it for hours on end. So that's
I'm gonna drop my 4 kids off at her place, and then I'm gonna start writing the world. And
oh, she has I think her husband's home, the boys are home, the 3 dogs are home, the 2 cats are there. Yeah, she's like, every time I talk to her, I'm like, Ma!
Good for her, man. I need pointers.
You need like 3 locks on your door in your office to keep them out, I think.
Well, okay, so we've come to the last question, and I get to ask it because my brain can actually handle processing that on 3 hours of sleep. I can ask the final question. But before I ask it, I just want to say one thing. And my one thing is that I've been hearing all of your stories, and we have a magazine coming up. So if any of you guys would like to have your books featured in our magazine, let us know.
Okay.
We would like to share it to all of you guys. But anyway, let's move on to the final question. Oh, shoot.
Okay.
No, I've got it.
Okay. Okay, you got it.
After 3 hours of sleep, I can still do this.
You can do it.
Where can everyone find your books and more information about you? And then what's next for you guys? Yeah, y'all. For what's next for y'all? There we go.
Who do you want to start with?
Oh, Pamela, did you start?
Okay. Got it. Okay. You can find out more about me at, oh boy, this is a doozy. It's PamelaScholzfic.com, and that's spelled Pamela, P-A-M-E-L-A, S as in Sam, K-J-O-L, as in Larry, S as in Sam, V as in Victor, IK.com. That is my name. I used to be Pamela Jo Johnson, not anymore. No one can spell my name or say it. So that is where you can find out more about me. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I do have an Instagram account that is Forever 51 Book. And if you sign up for my mailing list, I'll send you some fabulous Forever 51 swag. I've got stickers. I just got little buttons and bookmarks, and I bought a bunch of stamps. Here's some of my stamps that I just bought because I'm trying to save the United States Postal Service right now. And so I'm mailing stuff out to people because who doesn't love mail, especially right now? And what is next? What am I working on next? Book 2 of Forever 51, which is called Wasted on the Young. It's about a 19-year-old.
We go next.
Who's next?
You are.
Okay. Sorry. So my book is How I Made a Huge Mess of My Life, or Couples Therapy with a Dead Man. It's on Amazon and Kindle and iBooks and Kobo and Barnes & Noble Nook, and also at bookstores through IndieBound and this new cool thing called bookshop.org. And of course you can get it if you ask for it at your local bookstore, but I don't think I'm popular enough that every bookstore is going to have my book without it being asked for. So my next thing is to write my next book. I think it's a way to maintain my sanity in quarantine. And it's something I've already been working on for like a year. And you know, who knows what's going to happen? I just need to stay busy to stay sane. So that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I love it very much. Share your book.
Okay. So What's Left Untold. Maybe, I don't know if it's easy to see. My name, nobody can spell it or pronounce it either. So I have a website, SherryLimekuhler.com. It's Leimkuhler. I'm also very active on my author Facebook page. I am on Instagram and Twitter. My book releases on Tuesday. It's about a woman who reunites with her estranged best friend after 20 years and uncovers a devastating secret that threatens her happiness with her life and with her husband and daughters. So there's a lot of twists and turns there with what she finds. It does release on Tuesday. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, all the usual places. Probably on Bookshop once the print book is coming out as well. And like Billy said, I think with my book, with being an indie press, if people are asking for it at the local bookstore, at the library, they will be able to get copies in stock there as well. As far as what's next, I was probably, let's just say 85% done with my second book when things really took off with getting this one out in the world. It's tentatively called Sauce, and it is about a woman who quits her lucrative sales job and finds herself in dire financial straits, and then she's offered discreet work as a high-end escort. And it kind of really puts her moral compass to the test and threatens the relationships that she has. And so that's kind of where I am with book 2. But I didn't take Stephen King's advice. I didn't write every day, and I started and stopped a lot. So hoping to get back to that once I get What's Left Untold out in the world. But that's what's next for me.
Awesome.
Okay, guys. So as a refresher, the big finish. And my website is really creative. It's www.brookefossey.com. And look how creative I am. All of my, is that backwards for y'all?
No.
Okay, awesome. That is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is @BAFossey. And the book's hardback, Audible, large print for anyone that is visually impaired, and ebook. And what's next? It's still cooking, and so I don't like saying a lot about it because who knows what it's going to look like because I'm a pantser. But I can tell you that a main through line is soap operas, daytime soap operas. So that's it. Daytime soap operas and a very ethnic family. So, yeah.
Sounds very nice.
Interested.
Very interesting. Thank you all for coming on today.
Yes, thank
really,
you.
It was a fun
You're going to send
panel.
us the link for this?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Jade, would you like to wrap us up?
Absolutely. So, I'm Jade, as you well know, and you can find out everything that your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the ladies page, go to the ladies tab, actually, and then go down to the middle and see the charities that we probably support. Yes, we know that times are hard and money maybe is not an option for you to give right now, but maybe you can think about giving some time or just some knowledge. Or if you're doing some spring cleaning because you're just home and bored out of your mind, maybe a donation of clothes or books or whatever. And we thank you in advance for that. We really appreciate it. It's really a win-win situation. And remember that wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye.